as you talk about next steps, following up on Karen's question and answer with you, the Supreme Court, there are two issues that deal with equality, equity, inclusion, voting rights. Democrats are still pushing for that, screaming that gerrymandering right now in this nation is very unfair for their constituents. And also the issue of the admissions, affirmative action admissions in colleges. What are you bracing for, or what are you planning for in the recent weeks to come?
So look, that's something that the Department of Justice certainly is keeping an eye on. They have been focused on that issue. Certainly not going to speak to what they're bracing for or potentially thinking might may happen, but they are dealing with this, so I would refer you to the Department of Justice. Look, when it comes to equity, when it comes to racial equity, when the president walked into this administration, he talked about, I mentioned this moments ago, about the 4 crises that we needed to deal with. Racial equity was one of them. And that's why this president has taken steps since almost day one to make sure that federal government, every agency in particular, he signed an executive order making sure that there was racial equity coming out of the agencies. And as it relates to voting rights, he's been very clear about where he stands on that and making sure that we deal with that in a real way, making sure that there is legislation that calling on Congress to put forth the legislation that deals with voting rights. And so, look, the president has been very clear, the vice president has been very clear. There are real issues that we need to address and to look at, and he's been able to deal with that, deal with those issues, deals with racial equality from the federal government. But clearly there's more work to be done.
Voting rights, Democrats are very intent on trying to push for voting rights. That can happen in the House, but it can definitely happen in the Senate. Are you expecting the president to possibly lean in this time on this next wave of a push for new voting rights laws?
I mean, look, the president has always been clear of where he stands on the voting rights law and that it needs to happen. And he's always supported that, and he's going to continue to do so. He, commends Congress to continue to find a path forward, as they should. We have to deal with this. This is a real issue that we have to deal with.